Dr. Sue and Dr. Brooks, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
I asked the question at the top, where is the outrage? When I hear that one child has been hurt, abused, molested, whatever, it makes me ask, why is there ever a second child? Why aren't we doing more systemically and as a society to prevent it?
Yes, it's a great question. But the outrage is sitting right here in me right now.
Okay.
But I first want to thank Kathy Lee for sharing her story with us today, because it needs to be heard. It was very brave of you to talk about that today.
Thanks.
I want to let you know that. Lynn, there is over 3 million reports of abuse each year. Mm-hmm. 5 children die each day from some kind of abuse. We can not always protect our children, but we can prevent more often, I think.
Would you agree, Dr. Brooks?
I do agree. And when you hear statistics, and I share these with my clients a lot, and parents too, 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused by the time they turn 18. And I often ask my clients, if they're girls, how many girls are in your class? And I do say, and how many boys? And I said, if that's the statistic of 1 in 4, how many girls in your class will be abused by the time they turn 18?
All right, I have to ask this question. I'm going to ask my viewers as well, because it seems to me, as I said at the top of the show, we hear every day, we read in the paper every day, we see it on TV, an adult abusing a child. 1 in 4, 1 in 6. These are numbers that are startling to me. I don't remember this happening when I was a kid. Was it just that we didn't talk about it, and it really was?
It was happening.
It was happening.
So across the board, you all say it's always been
It's
there.
always been there, but I think we talk about it more nowadays.
We do.
And there are services, and as Kathleen said, so many things that I hear over and over. You know, I thought this was normal, but I learned it wasn't. She didn't tell mom or dad first, she told a friend.
Because that's safe. And, you know, now we have people in my age group that have come forward for whatever reason. With me, it was because he was abusing again that I knew about. And we have, you know, education, information that we didn't have before. People weren't coming into the schools and saying good touch, bad touch. There's just so many more resources. But again, one of the things that's most important to me is that if you do tell as a child and someone doesn't believe you, tell again.
Keep
you
telling.
have to
That's what I always say
telling.
when I do trainings. The first thing I say is tell your kids to tell.
But what if it is an authority figure? You know, what if it is a parent? What if it is a coach or a trusted teacher or a priest or someone else who's in a position of authority? It's so easy to say tell, but you know, you're going against the person who's, you know, in charge. We as women have a hard time complaining about sexual harassment against a boss. Can you imagine a small child?
It has to start young.
That's why I always urge parents, and when I do trainings, I say, start talking with your children when they're very young. Like you're teaching them, these are my eyes, this is my nose. You teach them the names of the body parts too, and the correct names. And you let them know very early on, if anybody touches you here, you tell.
And you still have to have the awareness. You have to have educators and whomever else has access to your child to know what the signs are. If you,
Well, one thing that people have said to me in the past is that, you know, the reason we didn't talk about it when we were kids is because people felt like what went on in other people's homes wasn't their business. Well, we're making it your business right now.
Yes.
I do have to take a short break, but as we do go to break, I do want you to think about this. Would you know the warning signs of child abuse? Do you routinely have discussions with your children or your grandchildren about potential abusers? And do you think the system that's in place right now is effective? If you want to tell us what you think, I have a feeling I know what they think. You can share your thoughts with me. You can email me directly at lynn@lynndoyle.net, and you can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're going to have some more conversation here on the show, and of course we're going to hear from some of our viewers as well. So please stay with us as our discussion on the impact of child abuse continues. Welcome back again, everyone. You know, child abuse is being called an epidemic in this country, one of the wealthiest and most educated in the world. So why does America allow this to happen? What can we as individuals do to change it? That's what we're trying to discover this hour on It's Your Call. I'm Lynn Doyle. I have some wonderful guests here who are sharing some of their personal insight into the impact on child abuse, including Kathy Lee Forster, who was abused as a child. The question that has come across on my social media sites so far and here in the studio as well is, was your mother aware of the abuse that you were suffering at the hands of your father? And if so, why didn't she step in and do anything about it?
She was aware. She would walk into the room and see what was going on, and many times just close the door and allow it to continue.
Did he abuse her as well?
He did, and that's what I was going to say, is that they usually choose someone who is weak. You know, there's a personality, there's a persona that you give out. So yes, she was weak, she was abused physically and verbally, and she just lived outside of our world.
So she just didn't have any power whatsoever.
Yeah.
Do you see that quite often?
Oh,
Is that
a lot.
frequent?
I mean, it's very much like women's battered syndrome. When a woman is being battered or abused, they're so afraid to come forward because it's like a learned helplessness. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? This is my life. I'm afraid.
But in addition to that, you know, sometimes we see things and you don't know whether or not you see it, but you get that gut instinct that, what is he doing in there, as one mother said. A light, he said a light. She was suspicious because her husband was in a room, and she couldn't figure out why, but she had an instinct, a gut instinct that something was wrong. I think you act on those. You don't ignore them when
But
it comes
people
to sexual
are,
abuse.
they are afraid because they're afraid if their gut is telling them one thing and it proves to be wrong, you could have destroyed a person.